All right, here we go again. I'm going to try to make a quick video just explaining my setup. This is a laptop that I bought from Facebook Marketplace. Got a really good deal on it. Um, Let me show you the settings real quick here. We're going to go to settings and then about. Here it'll show you I'm running PopOS. I've got this on an HP ProBook G4. I've installed, so the system, when I purchased it, the seller left a 4 GB stick of RAM in here. I happen to have another 8 GB stick of RAM. Luckily, that I was able to add to it. So combined, I've got 12 GB of RAM, which I think will be helpful because this computer does not have a dedicated graphics card. It's got the graphics that are built into the CPU, which in this case are Intel 620. So that graphics chip shares memory with the system RAM. So I just wanted to make sure that I had enough memory installed on the computer so that if I was running a game or something like that, the system could utilize some of that RAM for the graphics and some of that RAM just for processing basic operations and running my games and everything like that. So total, what I've invested in this, the laptop I got is a good deal on Facebook Marketplace. I think the user of the laptop probably upgraded their system to something newer because they probably understood that this computer was no longer going to be supported by Microsoft in terms of it being able to run the newest operating system, which is Windows 11. So it came with Windows 10 installed. And so they were just selling it for cheap. And so I was able to pick it up. I did install a new hard drive into it, and I did add that 8 GB stick of RAM. So total, I think what I invested into the system, it's got a built-in battery. So luckily they didn't remove that. Otherwise I'd be in a really bad place. But they didn't. It's got a built-in battery, non-removable as far as I can tell. And it does accept a charge. I keep it plugged in, but I've unplugged it and used it on the go. So the battery still seems to be in good shape. But total, what I've got invested into this, the laptop cost me $10. The RAM cost me about another $10. The operating system was free. PopOS is free. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, right? So yeah, between the RAM and the hard drive that I put in here, the purchase of the laptop, I would say it was about $40 maybe is what I've invested into this. And as you can see, it was able to install PopOS no problem. The reason why I went with PopOS was because I tried installing another version of Linux. Let me see if I can find that version of Linux. What the heck was it called? Oh, it was called Garuda. Garuda Linux. Here we go. So this is what I had installed on it previously, which is an awesome looking version of Linux. It is also kind of focused on people who want to game with their Linux setup. However, after installing it, it just wasn't able to find and utilize the built-in Wi-Fi. And I thought that was weird because when the computer had Windows 10 installed, that Wi-Fi wasn't a problem. And somehow when I installed this version of Linux, I had created a dual boot system and Windows 10 was still lingering on there even though I didn't realize it. So one day, as I was restarting it, trying to figure out this Wi-Fi thing, It rebooted into 10, and I thought that was weird. But while it's in 10, let me go ahead and mess around with it, see if the Wi-Fi is still working. And it did. The Wi-Fi was still working when it was in Windows 10. So I knew that there was no problem with the Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, at that point, I devoted another $10 into this setup, and on its way from Amazon was a Wi-Fi USB adapter, which it turns out I didn't end up needing. But since I had discovered that Windows 10 was still on here, Wi-Fi was still working, I thought, well, it's got to be some way, somehow something to do with the way the operating system is utilizing the hardware that I have. So I kind of gave up on Garuda and did a little bit more searching on gaming focused versions of Linux. I found PopOS. Let's see if I can pull up their website. PopOS from System 76. They also create hardware. They do have their own computers. I actually saw a computer on Facebook Marketplace that was a System 76 computer for sale. I didn't end up purchasing it, but now that I've kind of played around with PopOS, I'm thinking maybe I should have, although I don't think it definitely wasn't as good of a deal as this computer was. But anyway, I developed, I downloaded PopOS. I've got it running. It was able to not only find my Wi-Fi and get all that up and running, but everything seems to be working just fine. I got the Pop Shop on here, which allows me to install all kinds of applications, and it seems to be really easy to utilize. You just search up whatever you want here. It's also separated by categories, so you can look by categories. But I also have installed some other applications. So here you've got Steam. I'm recording this right now using OBS. I ended up downloading and installing Kdenlive, which is a video editing software and a video producing software, which was my choice. Initially, I thought I might be out of luck with Kdenlive because I had heard that Kdenlive doesn't install on anything other than KDE and Windows, because I did download and install it onto my Windows machine before I moved forward, just to see what it looked like, and it did seem familiar enough to me that it seemed like a good option for me going forward. It seemed very similar to the way the software that I use primarily to edit videos, which is CyberLeak's Power Director. It seems to work a lot like Power Director does on my Windows computer. So I got Kdenlive on here, and then I've got Steam. Steam worked great. Let me see if I can. Is it not launching? Well, Steam does work great. Did I not click on it? Let's see. There we go. So Steam seems to work great on this computer. It's kind of limited on resources because it's an older computer with a built-in GPU, but it's running. Here it is launching. I'm recording with this computer at the same time I'm doing all this, so that might be another reason for the slowdown. But here we've got Steam. You can look. It's got me logged in. You can see my library. I was able to recently find this game. This was free to download, and I've been filming some content about it. I also was able to download a huge collection of Command and Conquer games. And I think the collection, I'm pretty sure it was under $20. I don't remember how much it was, but like, look at all these Command and Conquer games I've got installed on here. It's crazy. And it's on my Steam account, which means on my main computer, which is still running Windows 10, and does have Steam installed. I could always just go to that computer and download and run these games on it. But here's Generals, which is the game that I've played the most out of this collection. But yeah, Steam's up and running. So got that, got PopOS, and I guess the main reason why I was doing this was because I was really upset and concerned that Microsoft was putting us Windows users at a place where it sounded like it was telling us that the only option for us moving forward was just to buy a completely new setup. And for any of you out there who have maybe spent some time into customizing your system or adding things to your system, like on that computer that I have, it started out with 8 gigabytes of RAM. I upgraded it to 16. It's using DDR4 RAM, so eventually I ended up getting through Facebook Marketplace 2 sticks of DDR4 RAM that was 16 gigabytes. So on that computer that's still running Windows 10, I've got 32 gigabytes of RAM installed on it, which is definitely more than enough than what I need to do my video production on and game with and do whatever else I need. That computer does have a dedicated graphics GPU. I think it's got it when it was before its most recent Windows 10 update. It kept saying that it had a 4 gigabyte graphics card. And now, for whatever reason, it says it's got 5 gigabytes. I don't know how that happens, but I'll take it, I guess. I don't know where that extra gigabyte comes from, but that's kind of cool. But anyway, that computer, the operating system on it, it's reaching end of life in October, which is just next month. So I wasn't really happy to hear that, but it did kind of force me in this path. I feel it forced me. I wasn't going to buy a whole new computer just so I could run Windows 11, and I was able to find a used laptop on Facebook Marketplace that had Windows 11 installed on it. So, if need be, I can always fire up that computer and have Windows 11 available to me when I need to use Windows. But for now, I'm testing out versions of Linux with this computer to see what I like moving forward. And eventually, on my main computer that I feel like I've spent a lot of time with upgrading, but not just upgrading, just time spent with it, just doing normal computer stuff and creating content and editing videos and all of that stuff. I feel like I won't have to abandon it because I'll have alternatives when it comes to operating systems. So that's where I'm at. I've found PopOS to be very easy to use from somebody who's only ever been a Windows user moving forward. So yeah, I'm just going to continue utilizing this until I can find a better option if there is one. But so far, this seems to meet my needs, and that's just where I'm at. So if anybody's considering it, I don't want to say that that I want to stress or anything like that because I don't want to influence anybody to make a decision that they're not comfortable with. If you're perfectly fine with just kind of getting rid of your old computer or laptop, I guess my best recommendation would be don't just toss it. There's people out there like me that'll buy that old equipment, especially if you make it enticing by making it very affordable. Then we'll come and scoop that stuff up because I don't find this stuff to be disposable. I think it's very useful. And if you decide to go that route and just get yourself into a Windows 11 approved computer moving forward, then that's understandable because it's not the easiest thing in the world to just completely switch operating systems. But if you are in the same camp that I was and you don't think there's a need for you to just simply abandon your old hardware because the manufacturer, or not the manufacturer, the company behind the operating system says that they don't think your setup is good enough anymore, then you don't have to. There's alternatives out there for you, and that's just kind of what I'm looking into. I'm not anywhere near a professional. I wasn't even a professional with Windows, but let alone with Linux. I've only spent days on this, but I'm just letting you know what my experience has been like. And hey, it's workable. It's doable. You can definitely do some great things. I'm creating content with a setup that I've maybe put total $50 in, but I think it's been less than that. So just take that into consideration, especially if you already have something in place and there's really no good reason for you to be getting rid of it. Just consider some alternatives and know that hey, it's out there. You can definitely do this. If I can do it, I think anybody can do it. So go ahead and give it a shot if that's something that you feel like doing. But again, I'm not here to try to pressure anybody into doing it. I'm just trying to let people know who feel like they put a lot of money or a lot of effort into their setup, or they just like the setup the way that is, and they don't want to just abandon it because they were told that there's no other options. There are other options, and it's not as difficult as some people have made it out to be. There's a learning curve, definitely, but it's come leaps and miles from maybe what it was when these alternatives first came about. Like back then, it probably seemed like you had to be some kind of computer programmer or something in order to get a system up and running using something that wasn't Windows or Macintosh. But nowadays, there's so many alternatives that I think you can find one if you just give it some time that's easy enough that you can get familiar with it and get comfortable with it. And that's just where I'm at right now. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but definitely be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and just let me know what your opinions are on the whole thing. And I'll be making some more content. Peace.